Welcome gamers to episode 2 of this Let's Play series of Distant Worlds 2. My name is DasTactic. Welcome to the channel, welcome to the series. In the last series, which we finally got the game unpaused, I want to keep it paused here because I've got a bit of money now. And we need to now do the next phase of our development in this early part of the game just to maximise what we're doing. By the way, you don't have to do this min-max type thing that I've been doing in last episode and then this episode as well, but I'm just going through to try to get ahead as fast as I possibly can. We're playing in a fairly difficult galaxy with what we've actually set up for ourselves, and so we have to try to get ahead a little bit in the game itself. We're going to be a little bit behind everyone anyway. So the next thing we need to do is we've designed our ships. We've got our heavy escort, and we've sort of now queued up 4 of them to be built. One of them has been built now. I'll let the game run a little bit further on. And we've got a troop transport, which is what we're going to be using for the assaults in our fleet. So that's going to be part of our escorts fleet. So we're going to be using these to try to pull down the shields of the enemy ships, get our boarding parties across, and take over pirate ships ultimately when we do come across them. So we've got that aspect of the game. We also then have a house rule where we can only befriend one pirate faction as the most we can befriend, and it has to be of the same faction that we are. It has to be another Gizurean for us to be able to then try to befriend it. Now, typically the Gizurean pirates are very, very unfriendly, and even with Gizureans, so I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. But anyway, that's the house rule that we have. Now we've got the money, as I say, to try to go and build a spaceport. I'm going to go through what we're doing now. I did actually mention in the last episode that we were trying to make sure that our initial 3 mining ships, these are critical for our early game development. So I didn't want them to rush off to the very, very first of the asteroids, and I'll show you why. You can see all of these are now going off to get Caslon. We've got one here at home mining some silicon back at the home world. But when we go back in, when the explorers first come in, they can explore the asteroids extremely quickly. And the very first asteroid that was explored was this one here, which is a 3% mining rate. This is tiny and really, really bad. So we don't want this. We don't want our mining ships rushing off to mine these sorts of areas, and we've got no control over the mining ships. They'll just make up their own decision. We want much, much higher, at least 10% really mining rate, because this is the rate that it mines. And so if it goes to a 3% steel mine, because we need steel, it will take forever to find it. So when you're actually in the game, you can just have a look to see, okay, is it still viable for these guys to come back? I can click on each of these and have a look to see how much they've got in their hold. They've got a cargo capacity, we saw this in the last episode, of, they've only got 1 cargo bay, which has got a cargo capacity of 1,100. Sometimes you'll have designs with 2. Redesign them if you do and get them down to 1. You don't want more than 1. I wish there was actually a tech for a small cargo bay for the mining ships rather than just a normal cargo bay. But this one here is already nearly full. It's nearly full because the mining rate is 52%. Now, with the other 2 that have just started to mine these, we're only just starting to hit these, but these are coming in with a very, very fast mining rate for the Caslon, less for the Krypton and less again for the Argon. But again, these are going to fill up very, very fast. By the time these get back, it will then make another evaluation of what we need. And if we go across to here, it will show you what our needs actually are. And at the moment, our biggest need is steel, followed by carbonite. Now, at this point in time, we haven't found any carbonite, we haven't found any polymer. We will eventually find it. It may be in our home system, but it may also be hidden away. I'll explain how that works as well. So if we go across to a planet that would be typical for carbonite and polymer, they're both the same type of planet. We can go across to volcanic planets, won't have it. The grasslands planet in here could have both of these. This is the Keterov world. And so when we have a click on the Keterov world, we can see there that there's actually, this has been fully explored up to level 15, and it's only got Cordova grain, which is a luxury good. It's not actually one of the construction goods, construction resources. So it's not on that world, and there's no hidden resources on that world. It's a green exploration tick for us there. So that's not it. Then we've got a mangrove forest planet that would actually be viable. We've got a deep ocean planet as well that would be viable. And just have a look at both of these actually. Sandy Desert, no. So they're both viable for polymer and also for carbonite. If we go across to this planet and through here, you can see that this one here is also at level 15, but this is yellow. And there's unknown items that are present. It has found, again, 2 luxuries, but there's still something hidden there, at least one other thing hidden there. And so this particular ship is now sending away teams, 3 more seconds before it gets to the next away team coming back. So the first lot of away teams gets it up to level 15, and then after that, if we just unpause it, we'll then just watch it as it comes back in, finishes, and then it starts another sector sweep because this one wasn't discovered, and we've got it up to 17 now. So it's a slow process to get up to 25 is the most that the scout ships can do. And so at this point in time, we've only got 17 up there now, potentially 25. Hopefully this unknown resource is polymer or carbonite. If we have a look at the ocean world as well, we'll just sort of see if there's anything that we know about that one. This is a deep ocean planet. This one is also at 17 at the moment with more resources unknown. It's got a lot there, but there's still an unknown resource. So carbonite and polymer will be somewhere, but it may be hidden away on these worlds. Now, there's another strategy we can use. We're playing on a normal system, so we know that they're going to be in our system somewhere. They're only going to be on those 2 planets. If we get to 25 and still haven't found it, the next thing we can do, because there's still resources here, I can build myself a mining station, and that will keep on digging deeper and deeper into the mine, it's into the planet, and sort of and discover more of the exploration levels over time. We'll find that also with our home world. Our home world is probably set to only 8. We've found everything that's there, but this will slowly just build up because we're living there, and so we'll find out more and more about the planet over time. So there's strategies we can do if we don't find anything at the time. You can see there all the yellows when I've got this when I've got that selected as well. We'll then show that one. If I turn that one off, it's still going to show the aspects of where we're still where we've got undiscovered aspects. Now it will average out the discovery elements. So we've got like a few, but when we come in, that's a 17 in through there, and then we've got this one was actually nothing was found with 5. So it sort of averages things out, but it does show us that these still need to be explored. And we'll have other things down in through here as well, where there's going to be exploration. For example, on Klatuni 4, there's unknowns. I'm hoping that the steel, that would be very, very valuable if it was. Let's have a look down here at our other potential steel world. Still only just starting to do the process here of scouting. Now, the first thing will just be a sector sweep, see what it can find. If we can find a good rate of mining for steel in our home world, that would be ideal, because that will be where the our actual miners that we sort of saw back over here will then start, they will go and find steel next, because the next one that's most valued or most important to us is this one here. We've only found four sources at the moment, so we need to give the explorers enough time to find other sources, so that when they go, if we go and have a look, for example, at new mining locations, it's then got suggestions in through here. If we go back to steel, because this will be the limiting factor for a lot of the things. In fact, sorry, that's silicon. Steel. Now it's showing things like 12%, 9%, things like this, which aren't great big numbers. But if that was the actual asteroid, and it's saying that OV 517 has got that, that's only if we built a large mining station right there, right now. And if we go and actually double click on that one, this one here, when we do on it, it's a 5%. So that's actually, on its own, it's a 5%. But the other ones around it will actually have a little bit of extra resources that it may be able to pick up. So the most it can get from this region for a mining station is 12%. So like this one over through here is a 4%. These will slow us down enormously if that's all we can find with our steel. That's going to be a real limiting factor. What we'd probably have to do is to get a mining station built in here, so that the mining ships don't feel compelled to come down here and then waste their time on these little asteroids. that one there as a 3%. We don't want them going to 3%. If the 5% is going to be painful anyway, to be honest. So anyway, that's sort of the process of what does go on with the mining. Again, you don't have to know about it, but I'm trying to get past this hurdle of the steel being a limiting factor. But also another thing I want to talk about is what we're building on our home planet. Now, we do actually have resource shortages. You can see there that carbonite is coming way down at 394. Mebnar is coming down, but it's still okay. We don't use much of that. Polymer is coming down, way down, and steel is coming way down as well. Now, we need to reserve a spaceport as soon as we can afford it. This is really important for us. Now, we've got a couple of different ways we can do this, and we have a couple of requirements with this as well. So if I go across into the planet and then go down to build new ship or base, you can see I can actually build a small spaceport there for 9,000, but it may not be exactly what we want. Now, sometimes you won't be able to do it. If I click on this one through here, we can't afford to build this one because it's 14,000. This one is 9,000, so it's under the 12,000. There's no... none of these are giving us... We've got this one here, for example. The colonizer is missing 103 steel, 141 carbonite, and 19 Mebnar, so we can't build a colony ship as such. But this is typically what we may find as a scenario. If we are missing just a small number of resources, by all means, click on what they're building that you don't want and scuttle it, stop it. That way you get the resources back into the pool to then allow you to build. So if the problem is lack of resources, do that. If it's lack of money, just wait, and it should then fix itself up as it queues up ships to be built. Now, the next thing we're going to be doing is actually making sure that our spaceport is ready for us to process the pirate ships when we do capture them. So we did that in the last episode. We looked at building the fleet around capturing and disassembling pirate ships. We don't really want to be disassembling them at the planet because it'll queue up. Like, we can only build one thing at a time at the planets, and it does take a long time. So what we're going to be doing here is going to be going across to the construction again. So this is a min-max aspect. You don't have to do this. You could just build that small spaceport. We have two types of spaceports, a small spaceport and a small spaceport version 2. I don't know why they're not named separately. They should be. We should have like a micro spaceport and a small spaceport. They have different size limits available to them, which means we can only sort of squeeze certain things into them. They're very similar, but one is actually much smaller, and so is cheaper for us to build. So we're going to go and edit this one here. I'm going to set this one to manual, but I'm going to allow it to be automated for a retrofit. I think I'll do that. If we have a look at this design here, because this is ultimately, if it can afford it, it will then go to this one. If we just go and edit it, and what I'm interested in really is just to see what it's got. It's only got one construction yard. In that case, I will actually do the whole thing manually with what we've got. So if we go to the small spaceport 2 and edit this one, and go down the bottom here, only one construction yard. Now, to be honest, the hive hanger, the small hive hanger, is practically useless on these. So I'm going to ditch that. So I'm just going to pull that one off there by right-clicking. That's going to save me a bit of space. You can see I've got a little bit of space in through there. When I go down through the actual bays that we actually have, and again, I've got it filtering by latest per category and family, and then by bay type, category, and family size. When I come back down to here, the construction yard is size 100, so I can squeeze one more of them in there. And this is the key for what we need to do. We need to have one construction yard for pulling apart ships and one construction yard for building ships, essentially. So we want to go and grab this construction yard, throw that one into there. The other two down in here, if we could, I would put docking bays in, but we really can't afford the space. We're already way over now in this one through here. But the two construction yards are the most important thing we can put on this particular design, and the other design as well, because this will then speed up everything. We're just going to go and ditch and make space for everything. We've hardly got anything on this, so I might just get rid of the concussion missiles, which will then free up a bit of space. I do need to have some defences on here, so I'm just going to go back to Thuon beams. I'll just go and place a couple of Thuon beams on the, although I might even go to two torpedoes, Epsilon torpedoes. These are, I really don't. I do like the torpedoes. So if we go there and then there, that gives me sort of like something on both sides of the ship. So that then gets us up to, we still need to get a lot of space out of this particular thing. We'll come back down, and in terms of what's inside, I'm not going to be changing any of that. But we will get rid of, well, we're going to have to get rid of something, aren't we? You know what it might be best for us to do is to just build one of these anyway, and then just basically go across and then upgrade to the next level once we can afford it. So we'll start off, even if we just end up with one construction yard to start with, that would be okay. And then we'll just improve it. Yeah, that brings it way down. I'll just call this one the micro port. Micro spaceport. So we'll allow that one to come through. Everything else is okay. We can put in some more weaponry, which I think I might just go and do. Sentinel beams. If we've got point defense cannons, we want to get rid of those and just put the sentinel beams in. It's a 270 at the top, another 270 on the other side, up to 714. Might be able to get another Epsilon torpedo back up there as well somewhere. So we've got the 4 big mounts in through there. And then we've got the 4 around there. Let's just throw them on. Yeah, that gets us up close to where we need to be. And so we'll save this, save and exit. Now this one has gone up to 10,000, so we're still under what we needed to do. I'm going to have it so that we don't retrofit automatically when they can afford to. I'm just going to make that a manual retrofit now as well. And so we can afford to build this one. And if we just go back across, I sort of actually almost hope that we've now gone beyond our limits in terms of steel, so I can show you this if it is a problem. But no, it's not. So the micro spaceport can now be built. So I'm just going to go and click on that one. There it is there. And so that will be our sort of starting point for then being able to do everything else. When we have a look at the actual planet, it's queued up after all of these. I can't change the order of these. So I don't think there's any way to do that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can't actually change the order of what it's building. So it'll build the fleet, then it will build that, and then it will start to build the other bits and pieces. After that, I don't really care what they build, but I just want to make sure I get my build in first. All right, let's unpause the game. We'll go up to level 2 or speed 2. I might just pause the game and let things sort of develop, because we now need to just wait for everything to be built from the planet, and we'll go from there. So I'll be back. I'll just show you what's going on. The scout ships are now moving out into the other systems to sort of start to explore a little bit further along. We do actually have one of our mining ships has now gone to the 5%, so it's going to take a long time mining that particular location. But we do also have, at this point in time, the where is it? This is now sort of going to show us what the priorities are. Now, if I just go back to all resources, it will still be wanting to prioritize the steel. So TT 478 is actually what it wants to do. So this is 73% mining speed, not the 5% that mining ship is going off to. So I need to try to get this prioritized just so that the mining ships don't get stuck mining the little asteroids. Let's have a look and see where that actually is. So it's this one in here, which has actually got a 53%. Actually, that's not going to be bad. I don't have to, if I can find something with that sort of capacity for mining with the steel, all of my mining ships that need to get steel will beeline for that one. So I don't have to build this. If I have a look at this one, this is going to be coming from the private economy, but we may not have enough steel to build this, but I will actually be wanting to get a mining, something else in there anyway. We've got another one there as well, which is going to be picking up the same, I guess that's a 20%. Yeah, so we've got a couple of really good locations in here. So I think I will actually go back across and build the mining. It'll take from here and from here as well. So I think I will actually establish this one. So I'm just going to go and do that one. The mining station is now queued to be built. Now it may not be able to build that one. We'll just sort of see how we're going. Are we still building? Okay, we've finished building this one. this one may or may not be able to come back and build the other one. So if we go back and have a look, we'll just see if the construction ship does start to do anything, and it's not. So it's not triggering based on what we just asked it to do. So that means we have now run out of resources. If we look at the resource shortages, we're down to 66 steel is the actual now the limiting factor for us. So we need to get steel from somewhere. So if we need to free up the steel, how much steel do we need? In fact, is there any, by the way, when we do this one, is there anything in the reserve column? There's not. So we're not reserving anything for any sort of building queue. So we want to go and free this on up so we can actually get a metal mine. And the only way we can do that is by basically scuttling the ships that are queued up in here to be built. So I'm happy for the mining ships to be built, but I don't really need the small freighters to be built. So even the game has now prioritized the mining ships above the freighters. We're still building our fleet, so we're still a little way to go with all of that. But it's reserved steel for building those ships, which are not important. So what we'll do is we'll have a quick look back in here at our ship designs, having a look at the large mining station, which is what it's going to be wanting to build, and we'll just go and edit this one and have a look down the very, very bottom. It'll then give us the list of what we need. We need 287 steel as the maximum steel that we need to build one of these stations. So if we just go back in and go across to the well, actually, first of all, have a look and see what we've actually got there with our steel. So the steel that we actually have is 66. So we've got a lot. We need to get 200 odd back in from this one. Let's go and stop this construction. Have a quick look again. The steel has come up to 191. So getting rid of the next one should actually then bring us up to what we need. So if we get rid of this one here again as well, and we're up to 316. Now at that point, what will happen is, because we've queued up and we've got a free construction ship, the construction ship will now turn around. It should now start to have another mission, I hope. Nope, is there something else it needs? Let's have a look and see if it's has queued up more of these small freighters. It should reserve, and it hasn't done it. Everything else is okay. Let's make doubly sure. I don't know why it's not doing it, but that should be. It should be going off to build this mining station. Somehow. Come on, get your act into gear. There it goes. So what's now happening is it's now going to be building the mining station, large mining station at TT 478. And so that's going to become our steel mine in this local system. And when we come back into here, the shortages will now see it's now reserved a certain amount of, so a lot of the steel, etc., has now been put into reserve, waiting for the construction ship to come through. So let's just watch the construction ship come in from this location. And this way we just get on top of what we're doing there. Now, it may not be the smartest move initially, but it'll get us through this first part, and then we may need to go and build a mining station in here if we don't find the steel, the polymer or carbonite from these two locations. So eventually they'll find what they need to find. Where are we? Here comes the construction ship. It's now got all of the materials that it needed to build that mining station. So it just came in, picked them up off the planet. The shortages now, there's nothing in reserve because they're now all on the mining station, on the mining ship. And off she goes down to the asteroid belt. And will then come in and actually build back in here. So that's all we need to look at there. Everything else is sort of proceeding fairly well, and we just now need to wait for our build queue to sort of finish for our fleet. So our first fleet is still, got 2 ships that are ready, another one almost ready as well. I will pause the recording until we have some other sort of action, probably be pirates coming in, I would guess. We're getting lots and lots of discoveries. Oh, here we go. There's our polymer at Clatanui 6. So if we just have a quick look across, so Clatanui 6, this is now, it got up to level 20 before it found it. That's polymer done. That's probably our most important one that we were missing. So we've got that one now available. And hopefully, well, this one should definitely have ultimately carbonite. Now, if we get to 25 and they don't find it, I will prioritize a mining station here so it can keep on trying to find what resource there is. I know that carbonite is in my system, and I know it's now got to be at this planet. So this has to be, the missing resource has to be carbonite. By the way, I might just show you what the game does, just so that you've got a bit of a feel for this as well, just so that you've got a bit of an understanding. I'll just get rid of all of those. This is cheaty with different things, but if we go across into the game menu, go to the game editor, I mean, I know that I have to do what I have to do with this, so this is not going to, we're not going to be changing our decisions based on this one. If I go and click on Clatnui 5, you can then sort of see, in fact, this is interesting, because we've got a Lacurian fungus, we've got a 20% mining rate coming through for that one through there, but we also do have carbonite, which will be coming through at 20% as well, ultimately, but we have to get to tech level 20, sorry, the exploration level 24 to discover it. So we are going to get it with our exploration ship. It's just going to take time. So I don't need to build a mining station there. But if that was higher than 25, and this is, you know, we are cheating by looking at this. If that was higher than 25, we would then need to build a mining station to keep on getting the exploration happening at that particular location. Anyway, that's the editor, just to have a quick look and see how it goes. So that's the unknown that we actually have in through there. But you can tweak things if you're new to the game, then by all means just change things around. There's another escort that's now come. We now actually have 3 escorts. And this is now giving us, because we've got 3 of them, we're getting 3% swarm targeting now in the actual fleet itself. This fleet is still not strong enough to do anything. So anyway, I'll pause and we'll just keep on coming back until there's something else to then talk about. Okay, well, our explorers have just come across a ruin on one of the planets. So we've discovered the forgotten tomb of Larawag, which is the Larawag system back over through here. Ancient ruins from a lost civilization at the ice tundra planet of Larawag 2 in the Larawag system. Our orbital inspection reveals that the ruins lie deep in snowdrifts at the peak of a windswept mountain pass. Should we investigate? So let's just go to the location of it. So this is the actual planet itself. We do actually have our explorer ship, which has come in to check out the system. Now we've now found everything that was there. That ruin was the last thing for us to find. By the way, the game is also now in the discovery update has got like a few, I forget what they're called, but it goes beyond the ruins now, and there's sort of like artifacts and sort of artifact locations that are now throughout the game as well, and these then create like a whole other dynamic with the way that the game can then be played with other advantages. So we're getting more and more of these things that Distant Worlds universe sort of ended up having, where it was so special and you didn't know what you were going to get when you were playing the game, and we're sort of now getting those aspects now coming into Distant Worlds 2, which is fantastic. Anyway, we're going to investigate this now. It could be anything. It could just be a ruin that we discover. We could find technology. So we're essentially sending an away team down to go through this particular ruin. So we investigate, and so this is actually what we ended up getting with this one was a Gravelex main sequence swarm was released. And so this has now released a whole lot of monsters from this particular location, which will then protect the planet. So in the Forgotten Tomb of Larawag, we've made a curious discovery. Upon entering the ruins of the Forgotten Tomb of Larawag, your survey team encounters several Gravelex main sequence entombed inside. So these then escape into space. These are not very dangerous, by the way. The Gravelex main sequence escape through the open entrance to wreak havoc on the outside world. Look out. These ruins provide the following colony bonuses, so plus 10% colony development, plus 7% troop research, and plus 4% scenery. Now, this is important. This is a research location now with that particular library that we've found, or the tomb, sorry, that we've found. We can acquire research bonuses by building a research station here, and we can also acquire scenery bonuses by building a resort base here. To obtain the other bonuses, we should colonize the planet. Now, the colonization, the quality of the planet is 26, but we have that 50 threshold, so it's negative 24 for us. We can't colonize this world at all. We wouldn't hate that one. So we can actually we can dismiss that one. The game will then keep on pausing. This one it will just keep on trying to do what it's going to do. Eventually these will then sort of come around and start to attack us. What we'll ultimately do is bring our fleet in so we can then go across and build. In fact, we can still do this one now, but if we start to build a research station before we clean these out, we're going to suffer. Now, getting research stations built is really important. like super important. That's probably the only one that we've actually now found. Yeah, Larawag 2 with the plus 7% troop research. You really need a lot of research, as many as you can possibly get with research stations. So we'll be looking to try to get that at some point, but I'm not ready to go off yet and do this one. This will be a bit later on in the game. It's not that far away from where we are, so we should always be able to control this. Another thing we might have a quick look at now is just see if there's any other potential colonies. Yeah, we've got a couple there. We've got Platanui, which is actually 15% for the Gizureans, so that's actually not too bad. We will actually invade that ultimately. And we've got Platanui 1, which is a low-level volcanic world, which is going to cost us too much to do that one. But we'll just wait, see what these explorers are just going out initially now. So I'll pause again and wait for the next edition. We'll just sort of see how we're going with our build queue. So we're still slowly coming back through here. Got a long way to go. As we were following the storyline through here, this is the scout ship that is sort of sending the away team down. This is the away team sort of going down onto the actual planet. Again, I wish this was better illustrated, but this one is a few more seconds, and then we'll go to 24, which we know, surprise, surprise, that we're going to end up getting the carbonite from this location, making still more discoveries, which aren't really all that important. So 27 seconds. Or actually, we're going at double speed anyway, but this is so this will then sort of get that bit of it done, and that will be pretty much all of our base resources will then be discovered. If you have a bit of a look, we've got one source of polymer. There we go, carbonite just discovered there. So we now have the 20 carbonite. Surprise, surprise, at 24, which is what we knew was going to be the case. So we do actually have carbonite. We've got pretty much now sources of everything. The steel, we should actually now have a mining source of this one. And so we actually now will get on top of the steel fairly readily. And then the mining ships can just go off and do their own thing. Hopefully there's not too many mining ships. Oh, there is. Damn it. These are going to take forever on this little 5%er. There may be others. Yeah, they're all down in here now. This one is a 5%, but at least it's got another resource. So it will still fill its areas up. There we go. The troop transport is now completed. So now it wants to now build the resort base at Platanui 3. I don't want it. This will give me money. Yeah, with what we've got, so we've actually been able to bring back other resources. So I might assign that mission. What else have we got? This is another large mining station. I think I prefer to go this way initially. So let's just go and assign that one. That's going to give us the polymers. And so we now, when we get a mining station built, like we have in through here, what it will then do is it will then bring in. So this one's now going back to pick up other resources. It allows the freighters to come and just pick it up, and we can pick it up piecemeal. So as it's getting the steel, these will start to come back. Unfortunately, these guys are stuck until they actually finish now filling up. So I'm sort of, in one sense, it's a shame that these are doing what they're doing, because it's just going to take forever to fill their cargo bays up. So unfortunately, that's sort of what's happened with them. Everything else is looking okay at this stage. I'll just let the game develop. So we now are building up the spaceport. As I say, very, very important for us. And we've got a fair bit of money now as well. And with the micromanagement that we've done, we've been able to sort of just navigate our way through the early part. We're still down to very, very low polymer, but we will now have a mining station built at the polymer world. And so this one is now coming in to build a mining station here. And so all of these things will then help us to get on top of the resource shortages that we actually have. So at the moment, polymer is our worst one. So this is our biggest, the biggest one that we now have to try to get in mine. Carbonite will be the next one that the others will then go after. The luxuries I'm not really focused on too much. I just want to get my construction under control. Here we go. We found our first pirate. The house rule we have with the pirates is we are not allowed to make friends with any other pirate other than one pirate, and that pirate has to be a Gizurean, the same faction that we are. So we've encountered a new pirate faction in the Platanui system. So they've actually come into our home system. This is the Dark Invaders, a group of Tekan pirates. These will be weak in terms of what pirates will do, and so perfect timing for us. We have our fleet ready to go. I think what we might do is actually we'll just deal with the pirates right now, but we'll play out the next part of the episode, or start the next episode with our approach to how we then do the combat and what we're supposed to be then doing with the actual pirates themselves. So we will have a look at all of this in the next episode. I'll just go and dismiss this one. It says the pirate faction is predominantly composed of Teekans. The Teekans are naturally hostile towards us. They are unlikely to be useful allies. Initial communications with the Teekans have gone poorly. They're quite unimpressed with us. We'll just dismiss that for a second. Oh, here we go. We found these as well. And these have also come into the Clatanui system. So these are Xenoxes. Again, we can't deal with these. These will be more difficult for us than the Teekan ships. But the two pirate factions will also fight against each other. So we may even pick up loot with them actually destroying themselves to a degree. So one of them will come out on top, and then we'll have to deal with that one. We'll dismiss that one. It will be the Xenoxes, I'm pretty sure. Dismiss with that one through there. We'll just pause that for a second. And so when we have a look at the Clatanui system, if I hover back to here, I can then sort of have a bit of a look to see what ships there are. So we have a frigate that's come in, the Elite Crucible, and also another frigate there, the Angry Aggressor. They've both come into the Keterov planet. So they've come into here. Now, they're not worrying us yet. They're going to be raiding this planet in this other side. We do have a fair bit of money. And what I might do is I might just try to get a little bit of a force on our planet to stave off the pirates here. We've got one. I'm just going to override what it's doing and just go and grab 3 more. So we'll just get a few more just to sort of stave off the pirate raids that will come, inevitably. And I think we'll leave it here, even though these aren't going to impact us. They will eventually. And so these will probably fight each other initially. And we'll have a look at all of this in the next episode, just to sort of start to pick apart the pirates. But this is why I didn't really want to take over this planet too early, because the pirates are going to cause all sorts of issues for us. They don't have any troops on board, so we'd be able to take this planet fairly simply if we wanted to, but we do need to build up troops to do that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next episode where we actually start to now deal with the pirates.